So I want to talk a bit about grace, and I was thinking about talking about how we can invoke grace, but actually I realised that's kind of the wrong way of approaching it, really, because just sitting here just now, I had a profound sense of grace always being there. So it's not really something we have to invoke, because it is the you could say building block of everything. Grace is part of divine consciousness expressing itself all the time. So grace is always available to us, is always there supporting us, actually. And a lot of people feel in this world, they feel unsupported. So perhaps it's more a question of really us sensing in to something that is already there, which is grace, which is an expression of consciousness. So the question might be, rather than how can we invoke grace, how can we become more aware of it as a support. Grace is like an invitation for us to reconnect with Source. Grace is something that draws us back to Source. It's a very strong, powerful incentive to come back, which is what God wants to do. Always come back to Source. So grace helps in that process. It leads us back. So the question is, yes, how can we feel that more? How can we you could say accept that more? How can we accept it as a support? How can we acknowledge it? And it's very much a felt thing. I can feel it now. I can feel it as an imperative bringing me back. And that's one of the things that I found with when I first started to meditate many years ago, was something, drawing me inwards out of the blue, despite my own you could say wishes, I suppose, but certainly no volition, no trying. So a grace, you could say, descended, I suppose you could call it that. It's talked a lot about in the Christian scriptures, isn't it? As well. And that grace then kind of draws you back down. At that time it kind of grabbed my brain, my mind, and stilled it and just drew it back. And so it's a very dynamic force. So you could call it the opposite of going outwards. It's the opposite of going outwards towards experience. So drawing back in. And as I say, I can feel it now. It's a very mysterious thing, really. I find it very strange, but also hugely comforting that it's always available, despite my better judgment, or not better judgment, worse judgment, despite what I'm thinking, despite what I do, anything, grace is always there, which is extremely comforting. And thank God for it. Otherwise I don't know where I'd be. So perhaps all we can do really is to acknowledge it, let it manifest itself, let it be seen, let it be felt. It's a very exquisite invitation, you could say, to come back home. To come back to one. That's what it's all about, really.